Welcome and thanks for clicking on to my very first overview of my new BMW X3 m40i. I mentioned in my last long-term review of my 320i that I was getting a new vehicle, and this is it. So after placing my order and waiting over 3 months, it finally came in. Here's the money shot. There's not a sweeter sight to see than seeing your new BMW at the dealership with an odometer reading of 0.007 miles. This one has a 3-liter inline 6-cylinder engine, which is the B58 engine, and it produces 382 horsepower. It also has a 48-volt mild hybrid system. Some other features are the all-wheel drive system, auto stop-start function, stability control, and the M adaptive suspension. I'll talk about pricing later, but the options that I chose for this vehicle were the driving assistance professional package, parking assistance package, heated front seats, and remote engine start. The moonroof and sunroof were standard, and I also upgraded to the 20-inch M double spoke wheels with performance run flat tires. After I go over the exterior and the interior, we'll go for a drive in this, and we'll get back to some of the features and functions. Finally, talk about the buying experience and the total pricing. Being a 2022 model, this is the life cycle impulse model. So on all of the X3 models, they made some adjustments to the exterior, including enlarging the front grille. And they changed the rear tail lights to this 3D pincer claw type of formation. It's a little controversial for some people, but I really like it. And especially with the black metallic sapphire paint that I chose, the taillights really blend in well in the back. And being M branded, it has that bold, aggressive styling on the air intakes on the front skirt, and it really gives it an aggressive stance. It has that nice paint colored side fenders over the wheels. And I also opted to get the 20-inch wheels, so that fills out the wheel space a little better. I think the 21-inch wheels would look even better, but that was a bigger step up in price. The M-styled side mirrors have a nice distinctive look, and the headlights are fully LED. The rear exhaust tips are also bigger and shaped differently from a regular X3, and these are actually real exhaust tips which are connected to the exhaust system. Opening the motorized rear door, the cargo space in the back is ample. There's plenty of space. There's even a little bit more space beneath the floor mat because of the lack of the spare tire. And inside, everything looks modern and utilitarian. Everything is premium quality build and materials. Everything feels solid. The fit and finish is great. They updated the console's controls. So they switched the location of the media control to the bottom and moved the ventilation controls to the top. I think they also made improvements to the gear shifter. It looks much simpler and cleaner. And the iDrive system overall, it really feels great to use and feels very solid. So even though everything looks modern here, it doesn't look futuristic, and it looks like a regular BMW. The interior that I chose is the Cognac perforated Sensitech. It's not a dark brown, but it's not as light as beige. It almost reminds me of the color of the leather on the Enterprise D from the next generation. The red color also looked nice, but this color is a little bit safer. And I prefer Sensitech instead of the leather. The Sensitech has a nice feel to it. It feels almost like leather, but it also feels durable. And I didn't want all that animal product in the car from the actual leather. For the trim, I chose the fine wood open pored ash green, which also looks premium. The overhead lights are nice and large, and the sunroof control is also located there. The center console is comfortable, well padded, and nice and wide. And inside there's plenty of deep space for storage. And the glove box also has a nice space for storage. Here's the center console closed and open. It has the cup holders and a little bit of extra space in front. The front seats are well bolstered and give a lot of support. They're firm, but they're still comfortable at the same time. And of course, both front seats have automatic controls to get the right fit. The metal trim on the accelerator and footrest also give a nice touch. And they also fixed a couple of gripes that I had with my previous generation BMW. They moved the lock and unlock buttons to the door, which was previously in the center console in an awkward position, but this is much nicer and more appropriate to use. And they got rid of that mechanical parking brake, which was large and unsightly, and now it has an electromechanical parking brake. The steering wheel also is very high quality, very clean looking, and it's very thick, and the leather wrap of the steering very soft and supple, and it's a pleasure to hold the steering wheel. The controls on the left are the cruise controls, and I have the radar assisted active cruise control, and this car will also actively stay in the lane that you're in by steering itself, and it also has automatic lane changing capability. Controls on the right are the media control functions. The iDrive control and buttons are very similar to other BMWs. I think they have a little bit too many buttons here, and I think they could afford to get rid of one or two of these buttons. Near the gear shifter are the controls to change from sport mode to comfort mode to Eco Pro mode. And you can also control these functions with the voice activated system. You can control the volume of the music, and you can control the ventilation and air conditioning systems. You can open the windows with voice control, but you can't close them, and you can't open the sunroof with voice control. But there are a lot of other things you can use with your voice, but I haven't looked up all of those or figured out all of those yet. And starting up, the engine is very satisfying. It makes a really nice purring sound to the engine. It's not loud, but you can definitely hear it. The cabin is fairly isolating and dampens a lot of the outside noise. When you're driving in sport mode, it does pipe in the fake engine noises to the audio system, but you can turn that off in the settings if you want to. But it sounds like in Eco Pro mode and Comfort mode, it doesn't produce those extra sounds in the cabin. The steering was very responsive, and I have no complaints with that. It's very comfortable to steer and maneuver this, and it handles really well just like any other BMW. But I was especially impressed with the braking. Coming from my 3 Series, putting on the brakes to this X3, it just felt like they were extremely powerful, and it could brake you well in any conditions. My main worry about purchasing this was the ride quality. I heard in a lot of reviews that it's a very stiff suspension, and it rides very harshly, and you can feel every little bump on the road. After driving it now, I do feel like it's stiff when it's in the sport mode or the sport plus mode, but actually when I put it into comfort mode or Eco Pro mode, it's not that all different to my 320i when my 320i is in sport mode. So I'm fine with the ride quality. I think it's great. If I'm in comfort mode or Eco Pro mode, it feels really comfortable on the road. The cabin noise is very low, and the degree of bumps and jolts on the road with the road imperfections It feels actually very similar to my 320i when that's in the sports mode. The auto stop start function, it's actually much improved from my 3 Series. It's much more unobtrusive, and you notice it much less. It's partly due to that mild hybrid system. So getting the engine started from a stop position, it feels very smooth and it's not abrupt at all. And sometimes I can't even notice it. The fuel economy is not great. It's 21 in the city and 26 in the highway. I've been driving it in sport mode for most of the time for short distances, and I'm right around 20 to 21 miles per gallon on my fuel economy just in the first few days. I wasn't as impressed with the power and acceleration. Maybe my expectations were too high, but 382 horsepower does sound like a lot, and going from 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds also sounds very quick. But in day-to-day operation, some of that is offset by the weight of this car. It is a heavy car, coming in at almost 4,400 pounds. But the frame is so stable and the cabin noise is so low that I can easily go 80 miles an hour and it feels like I'm going 60. Now, I don't have the heads-up display in this vehicle. It's not a standalone option, and I would have had to purchase the premium package to get the heads-up display, and that would mean paying extra for some other options that I didn't want. And I think everything that's needed is visible in the instrument panel, and I didn't want things to be too busy or distracting. And I usually drive with the instrument panel on reduced mode. It removes some of the extra information and removes some of the clutter, so it looks cleaner. This car was made in the USA in Spartanburg, South Carolina. That doesn't bother me at all, and I don't feel like it's a bad car because it wasn't made in Germany. And I think the manufacturing process is so automated now with robotics, there's not as much human hand or human error that goes into the process. I'll just give a brief overview of the center display and the iDrive system. So of course this is all touchscreen and it's very responsive and quick, but I end up using the iDrive rotary knob in the center console a little bit more than the touchscreen. It's a little bit awkward to extend my hand out to touch everything, so it's convenient to have this rotary knob right by your fingertips. So I'm just moving the dial up and down now, and this is basically your home screen, and all of these window panes can be customized. So you can have weather, traffic, the map, news, and other things like that. Under the car, it has your driving information, vehicle status, and it will let you know if the tire pressure is low or if it needs service or an oil change, and some further settings. You can customize your drive modes, how sporty you want them to be, exterior lighting, displays. Going back to the main menu, there's where you can go to your multimedia. You can have the AM radio, FM radio. It also comes with I believe a free year's subscription to Sirius XM. And here you can access the CarPlay also. So here's the swiping action on the Apple CarPlay. And that's going back. And now I'm going back to the home screen. You can also access your phone settings through here, navigation, and apps. I don't usually use this. So that's basically an overview of the iDrive system. Here in the center, I'll go over some of these buttons. This is the hazard lights, and this will bring up the intelligent safety system. I have to play with that a little bit more. This is the display for your temperature settings. You have physical buttons here and there. You have the front seat heaters, the defroster and the rear defroster, maximum AC, recirculation, passenger seat heater. So overall it has a really nice quality feel to all of these buttons. Really nice fit and finish. They all feel very solid. Here I use the parking button on the center console. That brings you to the automatic parking and backup assistance. So this will look for an open space and automatically back in and park it for you. You can also have it remember how you went into a parking space by using the backup assistant, and then whenever you want to get out of that parking space, it will take you out automatically. Getting into the vehicle, you can use the key fob to unlock the car. The top button unlocks, the middle BMW button locks the car, and the bottom button opens the tailgate. But this also has comfort access feature and keyless entry. So as you approach the vehicle, you can keep the key fob in your pocket and it will automatically unlock. So as you approach and it unlocks, the side mirrors will open automatically. You can also control the car using the My BMW app. So going from left to right, you have the lock button, you have the unlock button, turning on the lights, sounding the horn. And I actually thought the remote start was missing from my app, but the remote start is actually that icon that looks like a fan. So after pressing that, it will start the car and start the climate control. You can also pick a time to schedule where it automatically starts. You can also locate the vehicle using the app. You can tell how much fuel is left and make sure all the doors and windows are locked and shut. And you can also tell if you need any service coming up. We'll do the door close test. There's a nice solid thump as you close the door. The worst part of the ordering process was the wait. It took a little over 3 months to get the vehicle in. After placing the order, the dealership gives you a production number, and you can register on the My BMW website, and you can follow along the manufacturing process. Each of these dots represents a different point in the manufacturing process, and most of the time it's sat in the first 2 dots where they said the order was received and making room on the production line. But after the assembly actually begins, it goes very quickly, and I think it got finished in less than 2 weeks after the assembly began. Here's the pricing of the vehicle and all the other options that I added on. I did buy it at sticker price. The dealership doesn't have any need to offer discounts on these since these are in very high demand. Some other dealerships and Mercedes charges over sticker price for some of their models. And usually at my dealership, there's only been about one X3 at a time available for sale, and all the rest have been spoken for already. But I did get a loyalty rebate from BMW and a military discount. So after the BMW Genius went over the car with me, we walked over to finance and they talked me into buying some extra protection. So I got the 7-year, 75,000 mile extended warranty, the Xylon paint and interior protection, and the tire and wheel coverage. So after all of that's added in, here's the final price. So there's my overview of the X3 M40i. Thanks for watching till the end. I didn't have time to go over all the features. There's so many more features that I could go into, but I didn't have time yet to do that. Let me know in the future what other things you'd like me to go over, and thanks for watching.